people here from all kinds of different centers, and I'm thrilled we can support the home childcare providers as well through WeWatch and Compass. So thank you everyone for joining us. Back to you, Erica and Elaine.
That's great. Thanks a lot, Ellen. And thank you everybody for joining us and taking the time. I know this is a really busy time for programs and I respect that. And so I think it's really fortunate that we're able to come together. I know Elaine and I have really missed seeing you guys, and just seeing your little thumbnails just now makes our heart happy, and knowing that you guys are out there doing great work. So hopefully today is an opportunity for you guys to get some new ideas. We also consulted with our public health inspector colleague who is working with the childcare sector right now for some information on reducing COVID infection too in the childcare program. So Ellen actually engaged with some of the dietary staff probably in June, and we did hear back from them some ideas what they wanted to chat about, and so we're going to touch on as many of those ideas today, and then we'll get right into the kitchen, because I know that everyone enjoys that kind of interactive component too. So here's Elaine and I. This is pre-COVID. This is prior to us having to wear masks. We're nice and close. Elaine and I have done lots of work over the years with investing in quality. I don't know, it's probably going on how many years now?
Well, that was at the mall, yep, at Lansdowne Place for the back to school. Remember we were doing the bus welcome back. Oh, right,
the First Riders program. Yeah. So Elaine,
it might be 3 years.
It might be 3 years, but yeah, probably with investing in quality. We've probably been working with investing in quality in some capacity since 2013. So it's getting to be a long time now. Elaine and I feel very fortunate because we have been working very closely with the cooks in Peterborough City and County on some menu planning tools over the years that are now provincial. And I mean, that's kudos to a lot of our local programs and giving lots of great feedback. So at the end of this webinar, we're going to just kind of touch base a little bit on some of those resources that we've developed over the years that still stand strong even during COVID. But the overall kind of tone of our webinar today is kind of recognizing that we're currently working through this pandemic. So I'm a registered dietitian, and Elaine McCarthy is community worker chef. And
hello.
we love working together, and we're happy to be here. So as Ellen mentioned, please don't hesitate. I think Ellen's going to kind of watch the chat. We can't see the chat from the way that our screen is showing us the slides. So Ellen, if you just want to interject, please feel free to just interrupt us.
I will do that. Thank you.
So just to give you guys a sense of what we're going to be talking about today. So the outline for today. So a little bit of basics. So what is COVID-19 and how to protect yourself and others? Promoting safe nutrition environments, even during the course of a pandemic. We're going to touch on cleaning and disinfecting. This is our favorite topic here. We're aiming for fun eating experiences. Okay. We're also going to talk about how to allow for food literacy opportunities in a safe and supportive manner, even during the pandemic. Okay. Then we're going to have demo time. So we're going to flip over to our fancy webcam that we have taped to the wall here. And then we're going to come back and talk about some other resources that we have available for you guys. So some of these pictures that we've embedded in our webinar are actually we've done today. So this is a beautiful fruit and veggie platter that Elaine had just prepared just before we went live with our webinar. So right off the hop, I know you guys know this, but I thought it's important just to kind of reiterate it. So basically, what is COVID-19? So COVID-19 is the disease caused by the 2019 novel coronavirus. So coronaviruses themselves are a large family of viruses that can cause illness ranging from the common cold to more serious respiratory infections. It is estimated that 80% of people infected with COVID-19 have mild to moderate respiratory symptoms. So as we know, the virus typically spreads through coughing and sneezing, personal contact with an infected person, or touching an infected surface, and then the face, for example, the mouth, nose, or eyes. So Elaine and I are we can't maintain our physical distance in the kitchen throughout this whole webinar. So you'll see us popping on the masks now and then when we can't maintain that distance. So how to protect yourself and others. So to prevent the spread of COVID-19 and protect our community, physical distancing continues to be encouraged. It's going to be encouraged for a long while yet. Okay, so that's maintaining that physical distance between people. Hand hygiene, when done properly, is an effective way to prevent the spread of the COVID-19 virus. I'm sure we're all really great at washing our hands now. Then obviously the respiratory etiquette. So covering your cough, using a tissue, washing your hands after. If tissue is not available, cough or sneeze into your elbow. So common things we know what to do, but we have to be even more vigilant right now. So there's been lots of different guidance documents and protocols developed from the province, then coming down to local health units. And then part of our role working in local health units is to then localize that information. So Peterborough Public Health, since the get-go of this pandemic, has been extremely busy. We are working with more sectors than we've ever worked with before. For the childcare sector, you guys are probably familiar with this document here. So what we're going to be sharing throughout our PowerPoint or our webinar is going to be some information coming from this document. And at the end of our webinar, we'll have a link, and you guys can actually, it's a link that directs you to the childcare section of the Peterborough Public Health website. And this resource, along with some other tip sheets for childcare sector, are actually included there. The Peterborough Public Health website has had a lot of work done to it, and there's a tremendous amount of information there. So if you have any questions or you're looking for any new guidance documents or protocols, it's probably on our website. So we know you guys have been promoting safe nutrition environments all along, but in terms of when you're working through a pandemic, there's even some other things that we have to consider. Okay, so you guys have probably heard about some of these. So the idea of setting up your dining space, whether it's indoors or outdoors, to allow for physical distancing of at least 2 meters between cohorts. When we made this webinar, we were still talking about 10 individuals for the cohort, including staff and children. We know that there is talk of that increasing probably within the next week or 2 weeks. So I really want you guys to follow the recommendations from your programs in terms of the size of your cohorts. And where possible, it's even a good idea to have that physical distancing between children within the same cohort. So if you have the opportunity to space children out, even within the same cohort, between their educators or the children within their cohort, that's a great idea too. We really just want to have that physical distancing as much as possible. So you guys know this too. So clean and disinfect high touch surface areas where meals and snacks are served. So we know tables, we know chairs, but we have to think a little bit out of the box too. So things like, I know programs like right now, my computer's propped up on a serving cart. So basically we have to think about those kind of places too, the different places, serving cart handles, things like that. So I think it's, people automatically think light switches, doorknobs, but when you think about all the kind of those places that you're touching between, kitchen and then your service, you want to think about all those high touch surfaces, okay? So again, proper hand hygiene must be practiced. At the minimum, we want to think at the start of shifts, when staff prepare and serve food, by all individuals, educators, children, before and after eating. This goes for indoors or outdoors. When cleaning up after meals and snack times. Okay, so that's when we're going around and we're collecting all the dishes or collecting the leftover food and things like that. After touching shared items. Okay, so that could be, you could have an educator who's been dedicated to serving food potentially, but then you're going to be grabbing it next. You think about all those high touch items too. This is another one too. When disposing of garbage and recycling, another really important one. I have this little picture here of the picnic table for a couple of reasons. Maybe a couple of you could pop into the chat why I might have this particular picture in as an example of a seating place outside. Does anyone have any ideas why I might be having, using this picture? Just as an example. Not the only way you could eat outside. What do people think, Ellen?
Oh, if you want to write it in the chat or unmute.
Yeah, the chat would be good.
Yeah. Close together, you've got shade for the umbrella, from the umbrella.
Yep. So we have that nice, oh, go ahead, Ellen.
Just thinking, because it's a hard plastic, right? So you can
Yep.
clean it easily.
Yeah, that's right.
Nice. Someone else is saying nice to have outdoor snacks like outside during the nice weather to be able to move part of that eating outside.
Yes, for sure. And as you guys have probably heard lots, I mean, to do programming outside is even, you know, that's one of the key recommendations right now, just to make sure you have that fresh air and that airflow. So if your program has the opportunity to have an outdoor eating space, that's fantastic. It's a good idea. I mean, it's just a nice thing to do with children in the summertime regardless, but especially now to kind of maintain that physical distance and that airflow. You also see the child size kind of table, and you also see them like a table. I mean, I don't think it's a great idea to have children necessarily eating on the ground unless there's a lot of supervision. I mean, sitting upright at a picnic table like this will help, you know, keep them upright to help reduce risks of choking and things like that. And as someone mentioned too, that nice surface that's easy cleanable. But we'll talk about some other ideas in a second too to keep that surface clean. So another thing is, I mean, over the years, I mean, Elaine and I are huge believers in allowing children to feed themselves and really, you know, fostering that in programming and in settings. However, right now that's not recommended. Okay, so staff can still offer choice to children of what they would like to eat from the serving dishes. So if you have one person who is in charge of serving the food, they could still be walking around showing the children, you know, from a distance what the food is, and, you know, asking those questions to have that dialogue between the child and the educator to still offer some choice. So we do recommend that one staff should be responsible for serving food with utensils, okay, instead of using their hands to help minimize contact with food. And as I mentioned, children should not serve themselves. So we call that, as you guys know, you guys are great at this, family style or buffet style. So we're not doing that right now. It's not to say we can't go back to that. And I mean, children can still be encouraged to do that at home with their own families, but in program to help kind of minimize, you know, lots of people touching the same serving utensils and things like that. We don't recommend it right now. Alternatively, I mean, meals can be plated ahead of time. If that's what works for your program and that's what you guys feel comfortable with, I mean, that is what you will do, okay? So we just want to make sure that you guys knew that. So again, discouraging sharing of food. Also discourage sharing of condiment containers, utensils, water bottles, etc. So labeling these items with the child's name can help reduce accidental sharing. Okay, so really making sure that on their water bottles or any of those types of containers that they're taking their water in that has their name on it. You guys have probably heard this too. So aiming for single portion foods. So for example, a healthy snack could include individual yogurt fruit popsicles and a whole grain mini muffins. That'd be a nice little balanced snack. So we're going to be actually doing some popsicles today just for fun. And basically you can turn anything into a popsicle. And we have some beautiful, beautiful popsicles to show you guys today. And we'll make sure to send out those recipes afterwards too. So as someone had mentioned before, outdoor eating spaces need to be shaded to protect children and the staff from the heat and sun. And as you guys know, we've had a very hot summer to boot. So we have to make sure that there is that shade. And then tablecloths or even individual placemats can help keep outdoor dining spaces clean and disinfected. I do know what I've heard around the community is that there has been lots of wooden picnic tables and things kind of popping up, but those are impossible to clean. So you have to think about something that can cover them that's going to allow for the opportunity to be clean and sanitized. Another thing that Elaine and I thought could be a fun activity that the educators could do with the kids potentially or with your support is make their own little placemats. I mean, if you had somewhere where you could laminate them well, I mean, they're not going to hold up forever, but that could be one way to kind of individualize their little eating area and kind of a fun activity to do. They could maybe draw If they're older, you know, they could write down some of their favorites or draw some of their favorites, or just draw anything, a little placemats. We thought that'd be kind of cute. If those got sent home to families, I mean, it's another opportunity to share that information about keeping eating areas clean and disinfected too. We're big believers in, you know, trying to share that messaging back to the home too. So I'm gonna let Elaine kind of speak to this topic here. I'll pop my mask on and then she can talk.
All right, cleaning and disinfecting, one of my favorite topics. So children and staff can be kept safe with proper cleaning and disinfecting procedures. Like we've mentioned before about cleaning and disinfecting high touch surfaces, all the areas and items at least twice a day or more often as required. Disinfectants commonly used in childcare settings are effective against the COVID-19 virus. So any of the quat sanitizers or any of our commonly purchased disinfectants, you know, will take that COVID-19 virus away. And if you look on the quat sanitizer, if you're getting that from Swish, it mentions coronavirus or the COVID virus. It doesn't have COVID-19, but we've had the COVID viruses in the past, not nearly as bad as this, of course, but you know, so it is something that has been addressed. So that's great to know. And then Health Canada has a list of approved disinfectants that are effective against the COVID-19 virus. And there's a link there that you could go and check out all of the products. We have on the next slide some of the more commonly found ones that we would be able to find at you know, any of the grocery stores or supply stores that you might see. The one thing that I do want to just sort of touch base on, especially for everybody who's cleaning the kitchens, a lot of these aren't necessarily food safe. So for instance, like your Clorox disinfecting wipes, you know, you don't want to cut wipe your cutting board with that, for instance. If you did, then you would have to rewash that. Even the Clorox kitchen sprays, if you read the labels, it has to be rinsed again afterwards on some of them. The Lysol disinfectant spray, again, it's not a food safe product. So you could, you know, spray your taps with it or your faucets, but it should not go anywhere near anything that you're doing any type of food prep on. Again, your fantastic disinfectant, the same sort of thing. The best, you know, disinfectant for kitchens are your quat sanitizer, food safe sanitizers that you might get through Swish or through a supplier, and then of course bleach. But all of these ones that we have here are great for your commonly touched surfaces, like your toys, your tables and chairs, your door and cart handles, your light switches, and then again, just getting them at least twice per day. I think that's all I have to say about that. The bleach chart. So here's a great thing for the bleach chart. So the one thing that we want to be aware of is that the bleach solutions must be prepared daily to be effective. So if the bleach solution is subject to heat and or light, the solution might have to be changed every 4 hours. So saying that, so you can't mix a 1 liter spray bottle of bleach and leave it for the whole week, right? It has to be done every day. It is recommended to verify the concentration of the disinfectant by a test kit. So you should have those litmus papers. I think you can get them maybe through Public Health or through Swish, or if you have a food service company that comes to you, they will have those. So it will have the parts per million as the color. So I don't know if you're familiar with that or not, but it'll go from like sort of light, sort of off-white to black. And so we want to make sure that we're using the proper concentration for what it is we're trying to disinfect. And then if you're using one of the commercial disinfectants, like a quat sanitizer or something like that, you want to make sure that it has the DIN number, the drug identification number. And if by any chance you are using something that is being taken from a large bottle into a small bottle, then you want to make sure that it is properly labeled with that label on it. So in our chart here, this is a great chart actually, and this was given to us by one of our public health inspectors who is looking after the childcare setting. So you can notice here the kitchen, it's 100 parts per million. So that would be in your third sink for your dishwasher, or your dishwashing area. And there's the recipe, for lack of a better word, the formula. It's a half a teaspoon of bleach with 4 cups of water, or 2 milliliters of bleach with a liter of water. And then of course we have the contact time as 45 seconds. So that's really important, because if it's on for less than 45 seconds, it's not going to be sanitizing. The one thing too that we have to be mindful of in our sanitization, in like that 3 sink method, is that the reason that we have the middle sink as a rinse is to make sure that all of the soap is off of that, whatever it is that is going to be sanitized. Because if the dish soap gets into the bleach water, then the sanitization is no longer valid. So it has to be completely rinsed. There should not be any suds on it whatsoever when it goes into that sanitization liquid. Then it's 45 seconds. Make sure it's fully dry. Of course, at Public Health, we do recommend having it air dry. If you have lots of clean tea towels, as long as it's, clean tea towel, it can be dried with a tea towel. So when we're talking about the childcare surfaces, so that would be, your high touch surfaces, your toys, diaper stations, play stations, pet cages, and any of your high touch surfaces within the center. It's a 500 parts per million concentration. And if you look down, you're going to see the contact time there is 2 minutes, right? So, and we're going to start having a smell here of the bleach. So when we're mixing bleach properly in a kitchen, there should be almost no bleach smell whatsoever. But up here into the 500 parts per million, you're going to be noticing a bleach smell. And then for body fluid, so we're like blood, vomit, feces, that kind of stuff, which unfortunately we do see in childcare settings and in life in general. You're going to notice that's a half a cup of bleach with 4 cups of water, or 125 mils of bleach with 1 liter of water, and the contact time is 2 minutes. That is going to be a very strong bleach smell. So that might be something that we want to consider if there is, young children or people with respiratory issues in the room, because that is like a bleach smell, which I use bleach all the time. Thankfully, I don't really deal too much with body fluids, so my bleach concentration is down there at the 100 parts per million, so it doesn't bother me. But when we get into that 5,000 parts per million, it is a pretty strong bleach smell. Does anyone have any questions about that? That's all pretty straightforward, I think.
So what will?
Sorry, we just had a couple comments for the test strips that some people are getting them from Amazon, but you can also order them from Swish as well.
Okay, perfect. That's good to know. I mean, that's really important, because there isn't a way to really be confident of your test strips. And the one great thing about, or the one thing that I would recommend in your situations right now, is if you don't have like temperature, like you should actually have temperature logs and cleaning logs and all that kind of stuff. But, what you may want to do is just really be mindful. So that way, if something does happen in your setting, you can say, I test my strips, or I test with strips every day. It's 100 parts per million, or this happened, it was 500 parts per million. And then you're going to have like a paper record of that. I don't know if that's something that happens now, but it's a good way to be able to be positive and to be able to, go back to the families if there's something that happens, and you can confidently say, we have been following public health protocols in the kitchen, done, right? It's a good idea.
It's Ellen again. Someone else said National Sanitation should carry them as well. And Eric and Elaine, are we able to share the PowerPoint slides with everyone after, just so they have these charts?
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, this is a great one, actually. This would be something you could print off and just like stick in your binder or up, because I mean, these things are hard to remember sometimes, right? Especially if someone's like throwing up all over the place.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks.
Okay, and then of course we've got the safety considerations of cleaning and disinfecting products. I've just lost.
Oh, sorry.
I've lost my PowerPoint.
There we
go. So always store and use cleaning and disinfecting products according to the product's label or manufacturer's direction. So definitely, if you have to wear gloves, use in well-ventilated areas. I really do encourage reading the labels on all of these things, because I have just seen it where people have thought that Lysol kitchen spray is okay to like just spray in your kitchen, which of course it is, but it's not a food safe spray. So you don't want to be, you know, spraying it with your cutting boards and then chopping, you know, carrots on it right away. So really, really just read your labels. Allow enough contact time for disinfecting to kill the germs based on the product being used, and follow manufacturer's directions. Again, really important. Also, if you happen to be transferring from a larger bottle to a smaller bottle, we do that here at Public Health. We have like big dispensers. So we've made sure that we have proper labeling. Again, we get our stuff from like companies. So the company has provided us labels that we can put on our spray bottles. Very important. Keep all cleaning and disinfecting products out of the reach of children. Here, I'm also going to say we are really like being extremely vigilant with cleaning. So really make sure that this is doing, I mean, it's very easy to just sort of like be using your cleaning stuff and then sort of put it sort of at your reach, but it could also be the reach of children. Also, making sure if it's in the kitchen, it's stored properly and not with your food product. So there isn't that chance of any cross-contamination happening. Never mix bleach or other chemicals and disinfecting products together, as this can cause fumes that may be dangerous to breathe in. I mean, we've all done this. Don't do it. It's bad. Avoid contamination of food and food contact surfaces. Again, just make sure you read those labels and you're using the proper food rated or food grade sanitation and disinfecting for your areas. And then follow your health unit guidelines for proper dishwashing procedures. So again, ensure correct temperatures. So if you have a dishwasher, make sure that dishwasher is getting to the temperature that needs to get to, and make sure your chemicals are, you know, where they should be at. And then again, with your 3-sink method to test that bleach strip. Also, the one thing I was thinking of too, of the importance of reading your labels is if you're using like an eco-friendly dishwasher or dishwashing chemical, then just make sure that it is in fact something that is going to, you know, provide you the results that you want for a childcare setting, right? Mm-hmm. So, you know, vinegar is not a disinfectant, you know, and lavender concentrate is not necessarily something that, you know, will kill a COVID virus. So we just want to make sure that for now and moving forward, we want to follow all those guidelines.
And the big thing is here too, is that if you have questions, I mean, we all have inspectors that are supporting the programs too. So don't, you know, they're ready to receive questions. And so if you have a product you're not totally sure about, you can always call the health unit and ask to speak to your inspector. And they're there to be a supportive role too. So don't hesitate. Oh, we're to the fun stuff now, Elaine. This is good. So now we want to talk about ways that we can keep things fun. I mean, right now, as everyone is experiencing, I mean, it is a stressful time. It's a stressful time for children and for adults that are responsible for those children. And one great thing is that eating is still can be a time of joy and can be a time of enjoyment and enjoying each other's company and things. So we wanted to share some ideas we thought would be some ways that we can really aim for some fun this summer. And as we're working through the pandemic into the fall as well. So involving children and helping to decide on meal and snack ideas for the menu can really help foster a sense of belonging and choice right now during these times. As you guys can imagine, I have 2 children, Elaine has 2 children, and we both have daughters. I mean, their choices are quite limited right now. So just really using this as an opportunity to, you know, really consult with the kids, you know, do children in your care have any meal or snack favorites, you know, that they haven't had in a long time? A lot of them have been just within their own little bubble, and they might be now coming out into the world again with you all. And is there an opportunity to bring some of their meal and snack favorites that they haven't had in a long time onto the menu? Would be a great way for them to see themselves in your program menus. Also, any traditional or cultural family recipes that they enjoy seeing on the menu. I know my kids were from the Maritimes, and we haven't seen some of my family for a year now. And if there was a way to get some East Coast flavor on these menus, that'd be pretty fun this summer. But another thing Elaine thought, which is a fantastic idea, is thinking about having these child-led theme days. With your staffing team, your colleagues, and the kids, and to promote excitement and variety within your programs and your menus. So that idea is that meals and snacks can be planned to coincide with the whole theme for the day. Something I think school-age kids would really get behind, and so would the younger ones. So you could have a whole theme day coming up that the kids are looking forward to, that everyone is working on together on some activities, some crafts, some potentially some decorations, and even music. I know with my girls, they love Mexican, and so getting really behind that and getting them involved in coming up with some ideas for some Mexican options that could be served as food, and then work together with your educators, keep it exciting by exploring that culture together and finding some games and some cool decorations, and music is just always fun and things like that. So you can play that music while you guys are eating. So we just want to remind everyone about the Paint Your Plate with vegetables and fruit, which is a toolkit that Elaine and I were quite involved with. So this is a provincial toolkit that's online, and we'll provide, there's a link there, and we'll also provide the link at the end of our webinar. But within that toolkit, there is tons of recipes. We have spring, summer, a full week of recipes, I think, or a month. We have a lot of recipes.
It's a week or a month.
Yeah, it's a lot. We've demoed some of these recipes in the past, but there's also some activity ideas, so that if your educators want to help you guys emphasize vegetables and fruit and make them more familiar to children, there's lots of ideas in there. So there's a whole toolkit to explore.
Now, and is this can they print the posters off of this too? Like, do they have the, so we have the fun fruit and vegetable posters, and there's the match games and stuff like that too,
exactly.
Right? Yeah, this is a great document.
It's a really cool toolkit, and it kind of was really popular. We were working with it a lot last year. So we're very proud that Peterborough programs, are lots of their ideas were actually shown throughout this toolkit, and now it's used at the provincial level. And I think BC is actually adapting it right now, so it's really exciting, and potentially the Maritimes, I think maybe in Nova Scotia. So this toolkit's getting a lot of traction right now. And actually some of the pictures, probably most of the pictures in the toolkit actually come from this teaching kitchen, so that's kind of fun too, on past cook workshops that we've done. So we did mention we were going to share with you how to build food literacy skills into your programs now with children during these times in a safe way. As you guys can imagine, we talked about a little bit, it is discouraged for children to cook a recipe altogether to help reduce risk of infection transmission. Children can safely practice some individual cooking skills by being involved in making their own snack or meal item, and Elaine's going to talk about that more when we do our demo part, but should not prepare food that will be shared with others. So they can prepare their own or cook their own little food item for themselves or assemble it. So another collection of recipes that we've used lots in the past is that are quite easy to follow, and we actually have a visual recipe collection as part of our You're the Chef program. So we know many of you have taken the You're the Chef program in the past, and it's a food literacy program to help educators cook with children in their care. So that You're the Chef recipe collection is on our website. So if you click that link, once you have this slide deck after our webinar, you can check out some of our visual recipes, step-by-step visual recipes, which are nice for even our youngest little chefs. So, and all the recipes are healthy, and they're based on foods from Canada's Food Guide, and they're very easy to follow. We do want to mention that extra adult supervision is important to help maintain safe food handling practices during these times, and hand washing and physical distancing and all those things that come with, cooking food with children, especially right now. We don't anticipate that this is something you'll be doing every day, but it's something that for certain can be included with some planning. Especially those school-age kids. I think they would really enjoy that right now. And then this is just an example of one of the recipes that's it's a popular recipe. It's one that I'm sure you guys are all familiar with. So it's step-by-step, so you can see that, the child might be provided with, the one tortilla, a little bit of nut butter, and a banana.
And then one thing too that I want to mention about this is that, everything's great with like the nut butters or the or nut-free butters, like whether it's sunflower butter or the wow butter. So they have, it's great with strawberries, apples, so really, you could keep it a little bit seasonal, and so what sort of, is happening sort of in our fields and around us right now. So I think that, getting creative with that sort of, sort of roll up is great. And, the kids can also sort of have it deconstructed, which I'm going to talk a little bit about that later, but, you could just dip the banana in, or you could rip part of your, so again, you're giving a little bit of power and control to the kids on what they would like to,
Oh, sorry guys, I just wanted to, Ellen, I can't see your little thumbnail. Can you guys still hear us fine? Thumbs up? We're all good? Yeah?
Yeah, we can still see the screen. It's just not the big PowerPoint. It's kind of small.
Okay, I just closed it down. Yeah, I was just wondering, like, maybe we could ask the group now, have any of you used the You're the Chef recipes in your programs? And I know that Wow Butter or the nut-free butter banana roll-up is probably one that you've seen lots. Anyone? Or have you done anything different, like Elaine mentioned, with wrapping up foods in a tortilla with the nut-free butters? Or how many programs, or has anyone done You're the Chef in your programs?
So Sarah has said they make the banana roll-ups after school program. The kids love it. Nadia is using them in the summer camps.
Oh, good.
Yep, Kelly, they've tried lots of different variations of it at their childcare as well. Yogurt parfaits are popular.
Okay, good.
Yeah, the You're the Chef, the picture recipes would be great for a great resource for right now, because there are a lot of individual recipes for the young people to make, and you can make it a little bit more difficult for some of the school-aged children and a little less difficult for, someone who's, so, and I think we still have some of the tools that we can loan out. So I think we do have some choppers, we do have some cutting boards. So if it is something that, would help you in your organization, then, reach out to us and we'll see how we can help you with that.
Yeah, so Elaine and I are both working every day still. So yeah, so we do have quite a bit of choppers left. So that's something that you guys are interested in and using this summer. Yeah, you can, if you need our email, you can let Ellen know, or just give us a call at the health unit and they'll connect you with us.
Yeah, and Eric is working from home a lot, but I am pretty much in the building all the time. So
we can scoot them over.
Yeah.
or if you guys were wanting to pop down and grab them too, we can work through that. So maybe I'll let Elaine talk about this slide here.
Okay, so just we're talking about the food literacy safety tips when involving children. So, I'm a real believer in, still trying to keep that healthy relationship with food and keeping it fun, and giving the kids the choices right now, because I do feel that they've lost a lot of choice, and things are just so different that this is something that can kind of, we can give them a little bit of security and stability with. Hand washing, of course, always a big deal, even before COVID, and hopefully even after COVID, we'll still be washing our hands. So hand washing station area must be accessible. You want to make sure that they have proper, disposable one-use towels for their hands, and then a waste paper basket near them. One thing that they do recommend in the as far as the inspection going is not having the paper towels on the counter near the sink, because they really will soak up some of that dirty water. So keeping that separate. Hand sanitizers, are good, and obviously we're using them quite a lot more than we ever used to, but they're not going to work if the hands are visibly dirty or sticky. So yeah, the kids really do have to wash their hands and then use a hand sanitizer in order for it to work. I personally do believe that for the young people to be practicing their hand washing is probably your best option. But when that is not possible, they do have to wash their hands at some point in time, so they're clean-ish, and then they get sanitized with the hand sanitizer. And then we do recommend 60% alcohol or higher for that. We want to have the setup clean and disinfected spaces for the children. So if you can see the picture down there, we got this young girl. She's got a nice clean area. She's got her own cutting board. She's an apron on. She has all of her stuff sort of individually ready to go. So again, you're looking at probably a little bit more dishes, but really the end product will be this confidence that we're sharing with these kids, and like building sort of that recipe for resilience. With this too, I kind of lost my spot on the PowerPoint, but I was just going to say, and I think we have it on here somewhere, is that anyone who has done the You Are the Chef seminar with me in the past will know that I'll have, like, you know, chunks of cheese or peppers or whatever cut up in bowls, and then I'll walk around and talk to the kids and ask them if they would like some. Right, and that also is a good practice, you know, because, you know, you can make some eye contact, you can sort of see the kids and, you know, yes, please, no, thank you. So you do get to have a little bit of a back and forth with that. So I do think that, you know, that's a great use of time. And then you're just holding onto the bowl. You've got the, or your educator has the tongs, you know, so that will be great. So, and then of course that would be our responsibility to provide the children with the individual clean and sanitized cooking equipment if needed. Again, the child safe chopper, small cutting board, utensils, bowls, that sort of thing. If the equipment is going to be shared between cohorts, we do have to ensure that it is cleaned and disinfected prior to being shared with the other cohort. And again, I will emphasize the importance of having it dried. You know, we want to make sure that it is completely ready to go. Provide children with individual ingredients, portions to assemble their own snack or meal. And then discourage sharing of ingredients or food between children. So, I mean, this is something that just reduces cross-contamination and sort of infections anyways, but right now we do have to be a little bit more mindful of that behavior. So one of the things I was thinking of, I mean, this is going back into my my days of running camps for kids, but I like the idea of this, like, sort of silly theme day. I thought that this is something that is very, it is individual activities. It's something that we can involve the home with. Like, I thought, there's an invitation. So that invitation could be, let's say, sent home on Monday for a Friday theme day. You know, easy stuff, wear your clothes inside out or upside down or backwards. You know, say goodbye when you or say hello, say goodbye when people enter the room, and then say hello when they're leaving. You know, just to keep it sort of completely wonky. I could barely even say it there. You know, so I like that idea because you're engaging the home as well as the kids. You know, you could theme food. I was thinking we could do the I would do probably like the macaroni and cheese or the butternut squash macaroni and cheese cupcakes with, you know, have it as a cupcake, and then maybe something that looked, you know, sort of main course-ish as like a snack or a dessert at the end. You know, so keeping it sort of like different and funny. Also, there's the little games you can play, sort of word games. You know, would you rather? I mean, that's a big thing. I know my younger daughter's 15, so they do that a lot. So would you rather wear your shirts, you know, inside out or your pants backwards, and just sort of see, you know, where that goes as far as your conversation just sort of ends up. I mean, guaranteed the kids will get silly and laughing, right? So laughter is the best medicine. We know that. You know, we have Christmas in July. I was thinking you could do, you know, turkey meatballs or, you know, something. Poolside fun, lots of fun snacks. A lot of the food that we'll be doing today sort of does reflect a lot of the themes that we could do. Crazy pancake day, I'm going to be making a whole grain vegetable pancake. So, you know, that's crazy. Picnic outdoor day, again, like really snacky type foods, lots of fruits and vegetables, cold stuff. You know, that would be fun. I mean, if they had the opportunity to eat outdoors on that day, that would be fun too. Maybe you could make hats or fun things. And deconstructed day, I'll talk a little bit about that when we're doing our food demos today. And then again, up to the picnic outdoor day, I was thinking, I don't know if you've ever played that game, like going on a picnic, like I'm going on a picnic, I'm going to bring an apple, you know, and then someone else, you have to sort of pick the theme. And it's like a fun game to play with them. You might have to be a bit older, but I've played it with kids who are 4 or 5. I mean, if you keep it basic, it's fun. And again, it's sort of individual, there's no touching. But you're engaging, and there's a lot of silliness and laughter that can come out of those sort of fun things. Anyways, that's.
And do you guys have any, have you guys done any of these like silly kind of theme days in your programs that you want to share with the group, or maybe you've already done them this summer, or you're planning something like that coming up?
Feel free to write it in the chat.
I know some of you are picking up a lot of school-age kids, depending on your program. So sometimes, you know, you keep it creative and interesting for the kids. I know you guys have awesome ideas if you want to share with each other.
Someone says they've done a picnic and theme days, but didn't add food. So that's a great idea to be able to add the food to it. A lot of the older kids in the summer camp programs are doing theme days. And it's kind of nice as you get going to ask the kids, I think, too, what they want to do and really see what they're interested in. And then you can kind of grow it from there.
Yeah, and that's why we thought like that idea of being child-led for sure. And these are just trying to give you guys some ideas to kind of think out of the box, and you can always, you know, modify them and such too. So we have our demo time now. So this is just some of the things that we're going to show you today. So we're going to show you guys some healthy pops. Elaine's just washing her hands up there. We're going to do a watermelon slush. Pizza hummus, so with lots of familiar flavors, and we're going to be using it different ways. Deconstructed niçoise pasta salad, kind of fancy, but I mean, we're using tuna today, right, Elaine? Tuna? Yeah. And then, as Elaine mentioned, the vegetable pancakes. So we, what we're going to do after this webinar is all done. I know Ellen did ask for your mailing addresses, so we're going to pop a gift card into the mail for each one of you. And we'll also send along the recipes electronically with just a short evaluation of how you felt today went. So yeah, so we're just going to take a second here to flip over to our webcam. So you're going to see Elaine in the kitchen in just 2 seconds there. So if you guys want to, if you have any questions, if you want to pop them into the chat, we'll just get set up here.
Thanks, Erica.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have most people's addresses, but if I didn't get your mailing address, you can just email it to me and then we can get that in. It's a nice to have the gift card to buy maybe a new ingredient that you want to try for program or something like that. Great. Yeah, some I have the daycare addresses for, but if you'd rather, if it's easier to send it to a home address right now, that's great too. Wherever you think you can get your mail the easiest. I think I have your center childcare address, Nadia, but if you want it sent to your home address, just let me know.
So Ellen, can you guys see now Elaine in the kitchen?
So I think you need to stop sharing your screen because it's still got the slide.
I'll do
that.
And then you did mute or something, right?
Okay, there she is. I see you now.
Do you see me?
Yeah, I'll show you this one.
Okay. So I can see you now. I'm not sure if there's a way of just making the screen with the kitchen big.
If you'd have to make her as the presenter, I guess, Ellen.
Okay. I don't know if I can do that or not.
She's just a small.
Yeah, maybe I think if the rest of us turn our video off, that should make yours big. So I think if the rest of us all turn our video stream off, we'll try that. Then we'll all be bubbles and hopefully Elaine in the kitchen will be bigger.
Okay.
There's just a few. Leilani and Heather, if you want to turn your cameras off.
I'm getting bigger.
Yeah, you're getting bigger.
Very nice. And maybe Pam? Pam's off. No, that's good.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe Leila, yeah.
There's a way to pin the video as well, because I'm using my phone, not a computer, and I can pin her as the video, so she's front and center.
Oh, perfect. That's good to know.
All right.
So I think that works. I was going to say,
That's
just for this part, we're going to be standing on that side. So if you have a question, we can hear you through this. It might be if you have a question, maybe you can unmute yourself to ask the question, and just right after you're done asking the question, you can just mute yourselves again. We want this to be a little bit more interactive for this part. As long as when you ask your question, you just mute yourselves again, it should be fine.
Okay. And Erica, that pinning does work. So if you go on Elaine's name on the picture of her and you click on it, it should say pin. So if you click that, that will make Elaine's screen big on your screen. It worked on mine, so hopefully that works. That's good. I learned something new and techie today. Thank you.
Yeah, that's good. All right, maybe Elaine, just say hi.
Okay. Everybody, are we good to start?
Can you hear Elaine good?
Hello. Yeah, we're good?
Yeah, it's great. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Okay, so welcome back to the kitchen, everybody. So what we're going to do today is the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make some pizza hummus. So the pizza hummus, which we're going to share these recipes with you guys at the end of the seminar. We'll make sure they get emailed out to you. So the pizza hummus is a great recipe. It's using the dried red lentils. So just these ones here, they're super quick to cook and they double in size. So the recipe asks for 2 cups of lentils. So you'll need 1 cup of dried lentils. So, and then what we're gonna do is we're using some tomato paste, some basil, some oregano, and then also some garlic and Parmesan cheese. Because we're in the middle of the pandemic, we may not be able to get out to the grocery store. I did choose to use garlic powder because I didn't actually have garlic cloves on me. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on my burner here. And we're gonna add a little bit of just canola oil. So the one thing in this particular recipe is we are using the tomato paste. And so tomato paste always works best if it's cooked out. If you wanted to do this like totally no cook, then what you could do is use like just a little bit of pasta sauce. But this is nice. So what we're gonna do is I have my max power, this little burner here. So I'm just gonna add in my tomato paste and then my spices and my garlic. We'll get that cooking. And then so I have ahead of time, I did cook the split peas. So what I need is my container here. So the split peas, we're just going, or the split lentils, we're just going to put into the measuring cup because we're going to puree those up. There it goes. Just want to get this cooked out. So basically here we're cooking the garlic. It's called blooming the spices. So I mean, you guys can't smell this at home yet, or not yet, ever. But it smells already like pizza. You can smell the tomatoes, the oregano, the basil. We're just gonna get that nice and hot. So that's probably good. So we're gonna dump that into our measuring cup. And then I just have to grab, I'm gonna get out of the screen just for a second. About 2 tablespoons of water. So pay into that. We're gonna add some lemon juice. And then some Parmesan cheese. So easy enough, right? Little bit of pepper. And then I'm just going to whizerate it here. No, you guys can be doing this. Oh, yeah. So this actually has become one of my favorite hummuses. It is so delicious and it really does taste alarmingly like pizza. So the idea, sorry about that noise. The idea is you end up up with this nice, red hummus. It's wonderful. It smells delicious. I'll just give it a bit of a quick taste. I haven't added any salt to this, but there is going to be salt, natural sodium in the in your tomato paste as well as the Parmesan cheese. So, oh God, that's good. Okay, sorry, this is really good. So you can make lovely wraps with it, right? So I've got a nice wrap here. Lots of vegetables inside. Your vegetables and fruit on the side as well. You can make quesadillas, or I like the idea of making this sort of deconstructed plate with your hummus. So you could have the little noodles, some crackers, some vegetables, some cheese. So the kids could either make their own little noodle dish. You could dip your crackers in it. You could make a little pizza with the cheese and vegetables on it. So really lots of stuff that you could do with this pizza hummus. And of course, it is good just as a dip with vegetables or whole grain pasta.
What's really nice about the deconstructed idea that Elaine has come up with, I think for these times too, is that, again, it's fostering that sense of choice and opportunity for the children to individualize it for themselves. Even if this was pre-plated, it would still allow for the child to explore those foods on their own terms. So it's just kind of a creative way to offer choice.
So another sort of idea of the deconstructed plate is just having all your food groups together. So there's the whole grain crackers and cheese, with a couple different vegetables, some black beans, which I actually do enjoy eating black beans just on their own. For the littler ones, they're kind of easy to pick up. They're nice and mushy. They're not too big. It's good sort of dexterity practice. You'll notice that I've cut the carrot sticks and everything nice and thin. The peppers, right? So we're not having choking hazards. Some nice little chunks of cheese and your whole grain crackers. So that was another idea of the deconstructed plate.
I do know too with the littlest ones too, as Elaine mentioned, she's got them down to a nice great size for those like fresh veggies, but you could cook them a little bit to kind of steam them off.
Yeah, blanching is a great idea. So the same thing with the grape tomatoes. So nice little chunks, so they're not going to necessarily get stuck in a throat. We have tuna, some hard-boiled eggs, some peppers, and a nice dip. And then again, another little bit of pasta. So again, the pasta they could dip. This is a yogurt and sort of chive dip. It's really quite delicious. So they could pick stuff up and dip it. You could put a whole grain cracker with this, and they could, make their own little snack. I know, you could walk around with all these ingredients and ask them what they would like, and build their plate around it. So you'll be running less waste, I would imagine, that way. But they could pour the dip right on top of here and have a little tuna salad. Really lots of great ideas around the deconstructed plates. So for the next, did you want to grab this stuff? I was pretty sure. So for the next thing I'm going to make is the vegetable pancakes. So the vegetable pancakes, I do like these too. They're kind of like a little zucchini fritter, but we do have the flour in there. So what we're going to do, and I'm going to turn on my burner here. So what I've done is I just sort of pre-grated. I don't know how well you can see this, but I have in here 2 cups of vegetables that are grated. So I have zucchini, carrots, and cauliflower. Okay. So we're going to get that into our bowl. We also have a cup of cheese. So you want to just give those a minute and then just put them on the platter. Cup of cheese. This is actually a mixture of yogurt and milk because I had yogurt to use, so I'm just using that.
So these are our savory pancakes.
Yes. So these are being served the nice yogurt dip as well.
This is with zucchini, Elaine?
So zucchini, cauliflower, and carrots. A couple of eggs.
Maybe just for fun, we could ask.
What kind of cheese are you using?
I just used marble cheese. You could use, you know, anything really you wanted to.
So Ellen, just for fun, like with programs, do programs still have gardens this year? Just anyone still working with gardens? I know I have a squash that's growing up beside my deck right now. Who's doing gardening at their programs this year? This would be a great little recipe to throw stuff in from your garden.
Yeah, has anyone been able to get into their centers to kind of do garden maintenance this year?
Or even like some of our home childcare providers too. Do you guys have any little containers or any gardens?
Not this year, for a few of them are saying. So it's been hard with not being able to get into spaces. I know my son and I, that was our project while being stuck at home. We actually planted 3 garden boxes. So we've got beans, cucumbers, and spinach, and a million green onions happening right now.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, green onions would be really good then.
Yeah. Sarah's saying she has tomatoes, chives, basil.
So, there is a 1/4 cup of fresh herbs in here. So today I'm using dill. I love dill I love dill and zucchini together. If I was making this at home, and I wasn't necessarily concerned so much about budget, I would be using feta cheese. Feta cheese and zucchini and dill, oh, it would be delicious. All right, so there's my pancake mix. Got a smoking hot pan here. So the one thing about these induction burners, as soon as you remove the pan from it, it stops. You have to be careful with that. So we'll just, can you guys hear the sizzle at home?
We need to do that, huh?
This is venting through the.
So Elaine, we have a question. If someone couldn't eat eggs, is there anything you could use to replace the eggs in that recipe?
Whatever you typically use, like if you have like an egg replacement mix, like I know you can buy like an egg replacement mix, you could use the flax egg in it. I mean, you could probably just up the baking powder and up the milk and use it that way. You put like a half a banana in.
Great, thank you. Someone's asking if it would be more a breakfast or a lunch. Probably be either.
I'm having it for Crazy Pancake Day, so however you would like to use it. When I was like years ago in my old life when I was doing catering, I would make little pancakes like this and top it with the dip and like smoked salmon. So you could actually put this chive dip on it right here. And then put like some flaked tuna or something on top of it, and then it would be like the vessel of your protein.
Nice.
So really, you could use it however you'd like.
And you'd have like a more, like you said, a more savory dip, not like a sweet syrup or something with it.
Yeah, no, I mean, you could put maple syrup on it, because what's not good with maple syrup? But yeah, it should be more with these would come from more of like a Jewish type background, like a latke type thing. So, you know, applesauce, you could use applesauce as a dip. That would be great. You could top it with your sour cream, or sorry, your yogurt dip, and like smoked salmon. I don't know how many people are serving smoked salmon in daycares, but you know, your tuna or salmon. You could have like a tuna salad and use it on it. You know, you could use this as almost like a grilled cheese. You can melt cheese on it. So instead of putting the cheese in it, you could have it on it. Really, you could get sort of creative with this, and it would be, you know, a great. I make these as a vegetable side dish. I'll make something with a little bit less flour, a little bit more vegetables at home. It would be more of a traditional latke with zucchini, feta cheese, lots of dill, and then I have that as a side dish with my chicken or whatever it is we're having that night fish. You know, so really a great idea. So just while these are finishing cooking, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the slushes. So I know I just disappeared. I'm coming back. Don't worry. Don't panic. So here's a watermelon slush that I made it yesterday, and of course it's conveniently beside my extremely hot grill. So can you guys Can you see that? So it's like I actually hollowed out a little bit of the half of a small watermelon. And then basically what you do is you scoop out the watermelon, put it into a blender with a little bit of lime. You can put mint in it if you'd like, and then blend it up. You put it in a flat container, and then you use a spoon or a fork, and you just flake it. So then you end up with a nice watermelon slushy, like, see how that is? And then I just stuffed it with the watermelon just because I thought it would be fun. Sort of made for TV type food. Really cool. I love this idea. I've never actually done this before. I've been seeing pictures of it all over. I will definitely make this at home. It's really quite delicious. And I think it will just be a really fun way to eat watermelon.
It's almost like a healthy snow cone.
Well, it is totally. And the one thing too is watermelons are ridiculously expensive right now. I don't know who's bought one, but they were $10 yesterday at one of the grocery stores I was at. So I'm thinking if I'm investing $10 for this watermelon, if it's not being eaten, I want something done with it. I'm also noticing that there is, sorry, I'm looking for my flipper here. There is a lot of frozen watermelon available these days. So like in the bags of frozen fruit. So, I mean, you could really, you know, do it this way. This is a nice, I was really impressed with this actually. It's quite delicious. For my next trick, we did was the popsicles. So I hope you guys can see them better than I can see them.
I can bring them closer with the camera.
Yeah, maybe bring some just quickly. So the orange ones here are mango. So there's like mango, banana, a little bit of yogurt in those. We have some mixed berry, and then the green frog. So it's broccoli, spinach, banana, and a bit of blueberries.
So they're just made in a little Dixie cup.
Yeah, so I just made them in a little Dixie cup. I don't really like plastic, but I thought we had popsicle sticks here. We didn't, but we did have these little tiny plastic demo spoons. So I just used those, and then they just pop right out. So really cool. And
the fun thing is, one of my Facebook memories came up today. Elaine and I had done strawberry lentil smoothies for Peterborough Pulse, the downtown festival, a couple of years back. And it's amazing. The broccoli strawberry smoothie is quite lovely too, and children just love it. So putting beans or legumes into smoothies is a great idea and very nutritious.
Oh, so good. Elaine, can I ask, is there any kind of sweetener or syrup or anything added to the popsicles, or just the natural sweetener?
In the fruit ones, there is not. In the spinach and broccoli one, it's basically just the banana, and then I tasted it. I have made this in the past where I've added a little bit of maple syrup to it. This one I didn't really have to. I think right now the fruit is really a nice peak time. So the only thing that I would say is just try it before you freeze it. And if you think it's not, you know, I know if you're using vanilla yogurt, the vanilla yogurt does have sweetener in it too. So you're probably less likely to have to use the sweetener. You know, plain yogurt is a little bit more tangy, so you may want to sweeten that up. But really, it's what you think.
Frozen peaches are lovely to add.
Yeah, frozen peaches. I mean, you could use canned if you wanted to. Definitely, you don't have to add any sugar to that. But yeah, I really liked the idea. And also, if you happen to be making smoothies, right? If you're having your smoothie, you have leftover smoothie, just freeze it. Mm-hmm. You know, or in your head, think, oh, I'm going to make mango smoothies for breakfast snack or morning snack and on Tuesday. Then Thursday, you know, make enough so that you can just throw these in the freezer. This might be a really great way to have, you know, a make ahead snack. Or I remember in some conversations in the past with childcare centers, sometimes the cooks are gone and the educators do the snacks in the afternoon. So again, this might be something good for that. You know, you would have to have this with like a whole grain muffin or something, because it is only the one or two, because we want one or two, or the 2 or 3 food groups with the snack.
That's great. I'm thinking also if you had bananas or fruit or veggies that were about to turn, you could just whip up a batch.
You know, it's this is great. Erica's going to bring this over to the camera so you can get a better look at it. I'm pretty proud of these ones.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
So you have all those beautiful colors too, right? So we know the more colors, the more nutrition that's in there too. So it's very appealing for children to have all that color. Yeah.
I was going to say pineapple. I use pineapple and it gives a really, really good taste to
Oh,
smoothies.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a really good idea.
Yeah, when I put it in, the kids just love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I also grind oatmeal too, and I use it in my pancakes too. That way I don't use as much the flour. So I use
That's
more
a
like
good idea.
the
You know,
oatmeal.
the other thing I was, when I
More
was looking
fiber.
at different popsicles, was making this type of thing with the silken tofu,
Mhm.
and then adding the tofu into it.
That'd be
I mean, there's
lovely.
basically zero flavor to it, but there is a lot of protein and calcium. So, that would be a great, especially if you have to do something non-dairy, right? A non-dairy snack.
Yeah.
You could use the silken tofu.
The other question I was going to ask you too, Elaine, in terms of the pancakes, could you do it on a sheet and could you bake it off and then cut it if you wanted to do the pancakes, or with the savory ones? Would it be fussy?
I don't know. Like, I have done pancakes in the oven, so I put a baking sheet.
Mhm.
Anyone who's seen me do the sheet pan
Mhm.
fajitas, same idea. I heat up the pan. I bring with a bit of oil on it. I bring
Okay.
it out. I drop my pancakes on. I throw it back in the oven. So
Okay.
I use my my pan as like a
griddle. Yeah.
And that works. I don't know if it would cut. It might take a lot of time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these don't take any time at all to cook. So
And you could make them ahead of time and freeze them and then pull them out.
so yeah,
ahead of
totally.
your
You put them in ahead of a time, pull them out, put them in the in a toaster. Something like this would be fine cold. Like, I mean, it doesn't have to be piping hot. Most kids don't like things piping hot anyways. And then I usually just serve it with like a little yogurt dip. This one here is something that we've done in the past, and I'll supply the recipe. It's yogurt, a little bit of chopped broccoli florets, some onion, garlic, and then just some Italian seasoning, and then I just left it overnight.
So are
It's
we
really
allowed
good.
to use soya milk and almond milk instead of milk?
You can, as long as it's okay with
Yeah, you should have to think about with almond milk, make sure there's no nut allergies in your program.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
is it fortified? Like, are we concerned about like vitamin D's and stuff like that?
Yeah, you want to make sure that you're having a fortified product. I mean, the soy is closer to nutrient equivalents to cow's milk.
Right.
It would be more expensive. Personally, I wouldn't go there unless I had to because of the cost factor. But if you're dealing, like Elaine mentioned, the idea of having to be dairy free, yeah, I mean, it would certainly work in this recipe. Yeah.
The other thing too with this, with any pancake really, I mean, if it's just lactose, you could have a lactose-free yogurt and just add water to it and thin it down.
Yeah.
Right, and then you could do it that way. You could have a non-dairy yogurt and thin it down with water. Like, it doesn't have to be. I mean, pancakes and muffins and like loaves are so forgiving that you can really, really sort of be creative. I mean, applesauces, that kind of stuff would be. So traditionally, if you're making a potato latke, it is served with applesauce. So, there's no reason why we couldn't be using sort of that, especially coming into the fall, right? You could switch it up a little bit and have it a bit more sort of fall in, like maybe using sage or, really kind of, you could use a pureed pumpkin or grated pumpkin.
It's a very versatile recipe. That's for sure. So is there any more recipes that you have for us?
No, I think that's it. Really.
Yeah. Any more questions about the recipes? I'm just being mindful of time. We have about 5 minutes, so otherwise we might just switch back to our slide deck really quickly.
Does anyone want to reach out and taste it?
I really want to taste it. I'm starving now. Elaine, there's just one question. Would the pancake be considered a vegetable serving?
There's a half a cup for, probably not. No, like there is, it would be a partial serving for sure, but if you had if you were serving it with applesauce and, fruit on the side or some chopped up cucumbers or something, then it wouldn't be much to make this a portion.
Great, thank you.
All right, we're just gonna flip around here. Ellen, it'll just be 1 second.
I'm gonna put my box back in the freezer. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thanks, that all looks so good. I can't wait for the recipes and try them out.
We're just gonna change them.
you want to put your video back on, you're welcome to. Thanks. Nice to see everybody. Yeah, I have a spinach smoothie every morning for breakfast, but I love the idea of making extra and freezing it and having a little snack later on. It's great.
I wanted to ask, so were we allowed to use raisin toast if we put like ricotta cheese on it with some fruit on the side? Would that be a good snack or no?
To ask Elaine and Erica. I'm not sure if they're, I know they're just switching over to their PowerPoint. I'm not sure if they heard that or not. So. If you can type that in the chat though, we can follow up on that.
I'm on my iPad and it won't.
Oh, okay.
Unfortunately.
I don't know if you can hear us.
Oh, here, just one sec.
Oh.
I think we're
Oh.
on. Oh, sorry.
Erica, we just had one question for you and Elaine.
Or peanut butter.
Yep.
Can you, okay. Anna, do you want to ask that question again?
Yes. So if I had raisin toast and put cream cheese or peanut butter with fruit on the side, would that be a good snack?
I mean, I would say that raisin toast would be kind of like a treat. You know, we don't recommend the dried fruit necessarily on its own all that often because of you know, dental health and things like that, and choking risk for littlest ones. But I think that would be a nice snack, you know, on occasion.
Right.
I would treat the cream cheese like a condiment, though. It wouldn't be.
No, I meant ricotta cheese. Did I say cream cheese? Sorry.
Okay.
Ricotta cheese.
I mean, yeah, that would be a lovely little treat, and
with some fruit on the side, like strawberries or apple or banana or something like that on the side. Would that be good?
Yeah, that sounds nice.
Well, and that your nut butters and wow butters,
Yes.
flour butter is delicious. I mean, I don't know who can use peanut butter, but I love raisin toast and peanut butter.
Yeah, I don't have any kids that have any allergies, so I use sometimes raisin toast with peanut butter, and sometimes I do the ricotta cheese, and sometimes I just put like a little bit of honey on the ricotta cheese, and they love it.
Oh,
But I don't know.
Like when some figs on that.
Yeah,
What's
right.
that?
Put some figs on it, and you'd be visiting Italy.
I mean, if you looked at when you look at the menu planning, so this is our last slide here, just in terms of resources. Yeah. And so we do have down here, for those who might not be familiar with them, or maybe you are familiar with them. I mean, we have our practical guide here, and in the practical guide, it would say foods to serve every day, sometimes, and do not serve. And I can't remember exactly where the raisin toast would fall exactly, but I'm guessing it's probably more of a sometimes food, because it's not whole grain as the first, like it's not, you know, one of the first ingredients. But that being said, I think on, you know, on occasion, I think that would be okay. So when you go to this link right here, the second link that we have on the bullet, it does land on all our resources. So we mentioned today the Paint Your Plate. That's the first thumbnail here with the little girl eating. Oops, sorry. So in that toolkit, there's, again, those activities that emphasize vegetables and fruit. Elaine, for those who know us, I mean, we're always emphasizing vegetables and fruit. The new food guide, you know, basically half of what we eat as humans, it's a good idea to be eating vegetables and fruit because they are so nutritious. So this toolkit will help with emphasizing vegetables and fruit in the program. And then the practical guide is really that fundamental guide to talking about the foods to serve every day, sometimes, and do not serve. If there is a food that you're not totally sure about, I mean, you could always reach out, you know, to Elaine or myself, and we could explore that together. But also the Cooks Network, this group here is a great space where we can, you know, ask each other questions about where that might fall in terms of foods to serve every day or sometimes, or not to serve. And typically the foods not to serve, they're either because they're not very nutritious, or they're high in sodium or sugar, less healthy fats, or they could be a choking risk for our youngest children. So that could be why they're there. And then on the last little resource there is our menu self-assessment tool. So that tool there is for you to be able to look at your menu, especially this time of year. We're in our summer season now. So if you're making any changes to your menu going into the fall, it's just double checking and making sure that your menus do include all those healthy choices. So it's always a good idea to assess your menu when menus are changed. And then, as we mentioned at the beginning of our webinar, we're right on time to wrap it up, but we will allow for some questions too, is that if you're looking for more information specific to COVID-19 and childcare programs, you can visit this link here and it'll bring you right to the page. And there's so much information on our website now that we thought it'd be helpful to include the link directly to our childcare settings section and also day camps as part of this slide deck. So we'll make sure that these slides are available to you all after today.
And I'd like to reiterate the our website, the amount of resources that are on there. So like I mentioned, I have a 15 and a 17-year-old daughter, and we've been sort of going through different, programs or trying to figure out how to keep them busy. And I was at a meeting and they were talking about our website, and I was like, you know what? I've never really looked at it, which is terrible. But I was so impressed with the COVID section about resources. So if you're noticing families or yourselves or anybody who are having any type of, whether it's mental health or food or just anything that you could possibly imagine that is related to this COVID pandemic. And a lot of us are experiencing things that we've never experienced before, right? I mean, like a pandemic, but more than that. Right. So I was so impressed with the amount of resources and the ease of which to connect to these resources. So I think it's important, when you're just sort of, done with Facebook one night, is go take a look at our website, because there is some really great resources on there that I would recommend for people to know about. And that way, just even in conversation, if someone says, oh, we're surviving, that seems to be, when I'm talking to parents of young kids, that seems to be a very common phrase. And I'm like, oh, you know what? There's some really fun stuff on our website. And it's really, I think, a great resource for people.
Yeah, there is a whole section dedicated to parenting now and families, with tons of resources of activities and just different sites and different agencies that support families. And as Elaine mentioned, if there's any families that you're aware of that are having any issues accessing food or basic needs, we have a whole section dedicated to that as well. The other thing is that if people are not, if they don't have access to the internet or they have internet issues, they can always just call the health unit too. We have a hotline that's prepared to answer calls from our colleagues. We'll answer calls on any topic related to our current times. So you can always just call the health unit directly and they'll make sure that you get connected either with a public health nurse if it's more specific to COVID, or if it's about accessing resources, as Elaine mentioned. So we just want to thank everyone again. I mean, this has been a lot of fun for Elaine and I to pull together. We anticipate that we're going to be doing more virtual programming like this into the future. So we would love your feedback. So we will be sending out just some questions, follow-up questions on how this experience was for you, and maybe also inquiring some further topics that you might want to discuss. So thanks again.
Yeah, I'd high five you, Erica, but I don't want to touch you.
We can't.
Virtual high fives.
Virtual high five.
Thank you so much, Erica and Elaine, for trying this with us. This was really new for us to do a Cooks Network meeting virtually. If you want to turn your video back on for a minute, Erica and Elaine, so we can see you say goodbye. I really appreciate the work both of you have put into this, and as well getting your IT team behind the scenes set up with the webcams and everything. That worked just brilliantly. And thank you so much to everybody for joining us. I know so many are reopening this week and making plans to reopen in the next few weeks or for September. So it's just great that we were able to take time and do this together. So I really appreciate it. And like Erica said, we'll hopefully plan for something for the fall. So many of you responded to that SurveyMonkey I sent out a few weeks ago, so we might do that again. And that was great. Thank you. And any feedback, feel free to let me know, and I can pass that on to Erica and Elaine, and we'll get all the resources to you. And I'm sure we'll all be trying these recipes this weekend.
Sounds good. So you should get a little treat in the mail, each one of you. We're going to send it by regular mail. So that should be coming out in the next week or so. And then also by email, like I said, you'll be getting your little evaluation. So thanks again. It was lovely seeing all your faces, all these different angles, and seeing everyone. And we hope that you're well, and we hope that you stay safe.
Thanks, ladies. That was fantastic.
Thank
you. Have a good day. Thank you. That was amazing. Bye-bye.
Oh, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, bye,
Bye,
guys.
everybody.
Thank you.